Everybody, and welcome to BottlingRoom.com. I'm Dan Martin, and today we're starting a new feature. It's called Stalk the Winemaker. Have you ever gone to a restaurant and had the absolute best calzone you've ever had in your life, or the absolute best Jaeger Schnitzel, or the absolute best chili relleno, only to go back to that restaurant 6 months later and find out that that dish is no longer as amazing as it once was? Well, in many cases the problem there is that the chef has left. The exact same thing happens in wine, except the chef is the winemaker. And when the winemaker of one of your favorite wines leaves, a lot of times the next bottle you get is a little bit of a disappointment. Well, we here at BottlingRoom.com are totally against these rogue winemakers getting away without leaving a trace. So we're going to be stalking them. And today, we're going to be stalking the great Paul Hobbs. He is responsible for all the wines at Laird Family Estate.
Oh, the great Paul Hobbs. He's worked at Opus One, he's consulted for premium California wineries for years, and now he oversees the making of wines in several countries, especially Argentina, where he made a 2006 Malbec that Robert Parker scored 99 points. In this case, he's not so much a winemaker who's left a winery and needs to be stalked, as he is the winemaker for many wineries, and anybody who stalks him to whatever winery he's making wine for will automatically find great wines. Prime example, Laird Family Estate in the Napa Valley. It's an outfit that sells its grapes to dozens of wineries in the area, but keeps a few tons for itself for wines under its own label, wines made under Paul Hobbs. You would never know, looking at a bottle, that one of the most famous winemakers of our time had anything to do with what was inside. I visited Laird the other day to talk about the Hobbs connection, just as some of its Chardonnay vines were coming to life. I talked with Tara Fessler, who described how Ken Laird, the fellow on the right here, started buying Napa vineyards 40 years ago and, in the 90s, built the winery we were at. It didn't take long for Paul Hobbs to notice.
We started our work on our winemaking facility, and then the buzz kind of got out there in the industry for winemakers, and Paul Hobbs came knocking and said, "Can I make my wine here?" And we said, "Well, if you help us with our label." And so he kind of helped with the direction. As I'm told, we were initially looking at maybe possibly doing a bulk wine label instead, but Paul Hobbs convinced Ken to focus more on, some of the nice vineyards and creating single vineyard wines and nice blends of vineyards as well. And so they kind of did a trade. Paul made his wine here and helped us with our winemaking style.
And in the beginning it was Cabernet and Chardonnay, and that was
correct, yes. So a lot of people who are big Paul Hobbs fans will see the similar characteristics between our Chardonnay and Cab to his Chardonnay and Cab.
Well, I'm always all for tasting those characteristics, so we went into the winery for a barrel tasting of the Laird 2009 Syrah, Merlot, and Cabernet.
That's a surprising cab, actually. I mean, it's got sweet ripeness to it.
Every Laird wine, in fact, is rich with the signature flavors of the grape variety that constitutes it. But the rich, bright, juicy, pure fruit never seems too rich in tannins. It's like every Laird wine is candy apple red and makes your mouth water but not pucker. And if Paul Hobbs can produce that kind of wine, Laird can definitely produce those kind of grapes. Their grapes are, after all, mostly grown for high-profile wineries in the area.
So some of the wineries that purchase our grapes are Domaine Chandon, which is up the road. You'll also see some similar characteristics in the Rombauer Chardonnay, as they use the same vineyard as our Cold Creek. In addition, we have Maryvale, Nickel, Joseph Phelps. We've got some big names out there.
How many acres, though, under Laird?
So under the Ken Laird name, there's 2,500 acres. He got started in the 70s. He came here from Virginia with a tobacco farming background. Did a pre-stop at Georgia Tech and got a degree in engineering and worked in that field, but missed his farming roots and brought his family out here and purchased his first, plot of land. And Robert Mondavi asked him to grow Gamay and said he'd purchase all of it if he did. So that was his first establishing relationship in the industry in the 70s. So over the next several decades, he collected more and more vineyards. So now he has about 5% of the lands that are by grape here in Napa. He's the largest landowner, so 2,500 acres total. So 1 to 2% of that is only used for our Laird label, a 12 to 13,000 case production a year.
which translates to roughly 30,000 gallons of wines of stylistic finesse that won't cut your bank account in half. And it looks like the 2010 vintage isn't going to be lacking any of that finesse. As much panic as there was among Napa winemakers during that year's cold growing season.
They turned out a little different in the 09s just because the weather didn't get right. You know, the acid stayed a little higher, so.
But do you think they're going to be...
They'll all be fine. Yeah, they'll all be fine.
Yeah, they'll all be fine.
Yeah, they'll all be fine.
They were not grown at much elevation then?
They're all pretty much grown here in the valley. Yountville area. The other, over here on Big Ranch Road is the other vineyards that we've got. Also Carneros area.
Because that's the word. If it was at elevation, then it was at risk for not ripening at all.
Exactly.
I don't think it's going to be a bad vintage at all.
No, I don't think it is at all. I mean, it's going to be, it'll be different, but every year is different. You know, there's not one year that's exactly like the other. Every year, like this year, we're expecting it to be a higher yield because you can see the weather's cooperating right now. We got sun, we got rain.
Right.
It's starting to bud, it's starting to turn,
So when 2010 Laird Cabernet comes out, one hopes it'll still be a way to experience Paul Hobbs' work without shelling out the $150 a bottle for it. And for now, current releases can still be found at San Francisco's Laird retailers like the Jug Shop and Wines of California.